Has a game ever helped you cope with a rough time in your life? If you care to share, which game was it and how did it help?
I have a prime example. You can go first.
So, yes. And I actually kind of wrote about this a little bit on the Patreon blog. I find great peace in games that require me to grind a lot. First-person dungeon crawlers, roguelikes, things like that. I mean, we're talking the hardcore RPGs. These games are really hard, and for most people, that shit would be stressful. But for me, the pure repetition of leveling and grinding and watching stats go up, as I weave stories about characters that have no story behind them because they were roll your own characters. These games have helped me keep my mind off of things immensely during my grandmother's passing last year, who was very close to me, and my grandmother's sister, my great aunt, who is currently in the process of passing away. And I literally find them to be incredibly calming experiences. The music in these games, for whatever reason, is usually very mellow and calming. The scenes, even though, I mean, they're hard and you're slaying all these monsters, a lot of these dungeons take place in forests and meadows and things like that. It's at odds with how hard the games are, but everything else is very peaceful to me. Mm-hmm. There's rarely any huge story about a massive, demon overlord coming in and killing a bunch of people. There's an evil and you have to stop it, and you do that by climbing 40 floors in this dungeon. Can you do it? And I just get myself lost in it for hours at a time.
So my story is very specific, and I'm not sure how much in depth I'm going to go because it was fairly emotional. I'll go into it. I don't give a shit. And I actually referenced it in my Panic Restaurant video from back in 2010, was that? So in that video, I referenced how video games helped me cope with stuff. So there's one story I told about Street Fighter 2, I think it was. So we're talking, I'm 11 or 12. I think I was 12. 92, 93. Now you know how old I am. I think it was like 7th grade, 6th grade. So we're talking 7th grade. I was introverted. I had my big thick glasses, out of shape. I had friends, but it wasn't like I was popular. I just was friends. I kept my nose clean. I stayed out of trouble.
Sure.
I mean, I got picked on a little bit, but not as much as other kids, I stood up for myself, for the most part. So an incident happened where kids in a classroom made, like, it was a thing where, like, I think people were making, like, video productions for, like, a project, and everyone was watching them. So a group of kids, they were, like, the cool kids. They used to bully some other kids, but they didn't usually target me too much, for the most part, because I was kind of friends with a couple of the group. I had like 2 out of 6 or whatever. One of those sort of deals.
Yes.
Where you're not friends with all of them, but enough to keep off your back.
You're friends with one of them who does his best to keep him at bay.
Maybe not, but they don't fuck with you directly.
Yeah.
So they did a video where one of them was mocking another kid that they used to pick on, named Thomas. And the kids in the classroom didn't realize it was going on, and even the teachers didn't realize it. And it was one of those things where it was like 2 classrooms combined.
I remember this story now.
Okay. And so I must have said across, "Oh, they're making fun of Thomas." And then the teacher heard me. And so the teacher, I think, then consulted with the other teacher and got them all in trouble. And so I, quote unquote, ratted them out without even realizing it. It wasn't my intention. I was just telling someone across the room. So one of the kids, Joseph, wanted to beat me up because of that. That day or the next day, they had this meetup thing. Where I guess at the park it was going to be a softball game between everyone in the grade, 6th or 7th, whatever it was, and I was invited. I was going to go. It was at the same playground where I was talking about my friend Kevin, where he lived. So we're talking like 10, 11 blocks away. And so he threatened me, and he was going to probably try to beat me up, humiliate me in front of the entire school. And I knew this, and so I wasn't going to try to fight him. Because even if I won, what would be the point, Yeah. So, I was ashamed that I didn't want to face him, Then I got a phone call from Christine. Christine was a girl that lived 5 blocks away that I was friendly with my entire life. And I got a call from Christine trying to goad me to come out, knowing that this guy was going to try to be up. And I got a call from her. Never got calls from girls when I was in grade school. That was unheard of. And the one time I got a call was from this girl trying to sell me out and get me to come down to get beaten up in front of the entire grade. It was the only time that this girl, Christine, called me. And I had known this girl since I was like 5 years old. And I'd been on the bus with her every day of my life going to school. And I'll never forget the tone of voice with her saying, "Oh, why don't you come out, Pat? Why don't you come out?" Knowing that she wanted to see me get beat up by, maybe this was her fucking boyfriend in 6th or 7th grade. So, what can I do? No one on my side. You know, pop in Street Fighter 2, play it that afternoon, and just drift away, knowing that call me a coward, whatever else, but I wasn't going to walk into a fucking trap that I knew was a trap.
Right.
And nothing would have happened. You know what I mean? And no good would have happened either way. They would have ganged up on me and beat me up, would have made fun of me the whole time. No good would have happened for literally the entire grade of my school, like 50, 60 kids. So it's one of those stories that where it's obviously it sticks with you. The good news is that he never tried to attack me afterwards. Like either he realized it was stupid or maybe he got over it, this kid. And after that we were okay. Like it didn't really come out. We never had it out because of that. Mm-hmm. And then, well, I ended up beating up a kid in front of the entire school the next year, which the other kid started. So after that, no one would touch me anyway. I went into a rage. Hold this story. The whole point is that was me coping with that rough time and getting picked on was video games. But that Street Fighter 2 story will stick with me my entire life. Christine, if you are listening, fuck yourself for trying to goad me into a fight for someone that you were friends with for like 6-7 years. That's just despicable. To do that. That hurt me more than the fucking idiot bully trying to beat me up, actually.